Good morning and welcome to the fifth meeting of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Government Affairs, the best committee of the Interim Legislature. Welcome everybody here in Las Vegas and those joining us in Carson City. Ms. Velasquez, can you please call the roll?
Senator Daly,
Here.
Senator Flores,
Present.
Senator Hansen,
Here.
Assemblyman Carter,
Present.
Assemblyman De Silva,
Here.
Assemblyman Koenig,
Here.
Assemblyman MacArthur,
Here.
Chair Torres.
Here. Before we begin, well, I just want to first say that this is my first time in this building, so it definitely took me off guard. So bear with us as some of us are learning the technology. I know Assemblyman MacArthur here is generally a pro at technology, so he told me that he was really looking forward to being in here. But I know some of us will still be kind of learning how to use some of this really interesting tech. It's really great to be here. But I want to go ahead and start by making some general housekeeping announcements. So today's agenda includes a work session during which the committee will decide which legislative measures it will request for the 2025 legislative session. Meeting materials, including the work session document, can be accessed on the committee's webpage located on the Nevada Legislature's website. We will have a public comment period at the beginning and end of the meeting. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Members of the public may provide testimony in different ways, all of which are listed on the agenda. To call in for public comment, please dial 888-475-4499. When prompted for a meeting ID, enter 858-9750-5932, then press pound and follow the instructions. All of those directions are also on the agenda for today. If you would like to provide written comments, please submit them electronically by email at gainterim@lcb.state.nv.us or mail them to the Research Division at 401 South Carson Street, Carson City, Nevada, 89701. Finally, I would like to remind members to please silence your electronic devices, especially cell phones and laptops during the meeting. With that, we will move on to public comment. This is the first public comment section for today. An additional opportunity to make public comment will be available at the end of the meeting. Since we'll be having a work session today, I encourage all individuals to address any items in the work session during the first public comment period. If you are here to support or oppose any of those recommendations, this is the time that is set aside for you to come forward. Please remember to state your name for the record and limit your comments to 2 minutes. Staff will time each speaker during public comment to ensure everyone has a fair opportunity to speak. Is there anyone wishing to provide public comment here in Las Vegas? It does not appear so. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify with public comment? You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Torres, members of the committee. For the record, Cadence Matievich, Government Affairs Liaison for Washoe County, here today in support of item number 5 on your work session agenda, and to express our thanks to the chair for bringing it forward, and would encourage the committee members to take it under consideration and move it forward. In April of 2024, this year, the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners approved Washoe County's Language Access Plan, and we have begun implementing it. We've taken this very seriously and are doing our best to comply with the requirements in the legislation and also what we believe was the intent of the legislation. Certainly, this was an unfunded mandate for us, and to the extent that funds could be made available for local governments to implement this, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in Carson City? It does not appear so. At this time, I'll go back to Las Vegas. I do see somebody else wishing to testify in public comment.
Thank you, Chair Torres and committee members. Marco Vallada, City of Las Vegas, Department of Community Development. For the record, the City of Las Vegas was in support of item 6 in the last legislative session related to heat mitigation elements for master plans, including a plan for developing heat mitigation strategies for cooling spaces, public drinking water, shade, and urban tree canopies. If the committee does consider this for for inclusion as a BDR for this next 2025 legislative session. The city of Las Vegas may be in support of that as well as we were the last time around. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in public comment? I don't see anyone in Las Vegas or Carson City. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in public comment?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. However, there are no callers online to offer public comment at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll proceed to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes for the meeting on May 30th, 2024. Committee members, you've all had time to review the minutes. Are there any questions on the minutes? I don't see any here in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, Assemblyman McCarthy, did you have a couple questions on the minutes?
Minutes? No.
No, he said not today. He'll save it for the next interim committee meeting. Members in Carson City, are there any questions on the minutes? It doesn't appear so. So at this time, I will take a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on May 30th.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Flores. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second from Assemblyman De Silva. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Doesn't appear there are any unless there is in Carson City, but I don't believe so. So thank you. This motion does pass. At this time, we will proceed to agenda item number 4, presentation on the utilization of internet-based food delivery applications by fictitious restaurants to sell food under the identity of legitimate restaurants. And so with this presentation, we'll have Tom Roberts, managing partner of Meridian, Nevada, and Christina Martin, an owner of Maniza's Pizza. Correct me if I said that wrong. Thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. And I also have Jacqueline Bertel. She's an attorney with the Nevada Justice Association, and she's associated with this presentation too. Again, for the record, Tom Roberts with Meridian, Nevada, currently here representing Nevada Justice Association. We're here this afternoon to present basically a story about something that is occurring here in Las Vegas and quite frankly nationally regarding businesses that are utilizing food service apps to conduct business illegally and under the name of other businesses. So I will turn it over, with your permission, I'll turn it over to Christina Martin. She's talk about her business, her experience, and then Jacqueline Bertel will follow up with some other implications.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Christina Martin, and I own Maniza's Pizza, located about 3 miles west of here. I'm here to tell a story about what happened to my business this spring and why I'm so passionate about helping protect other small businesses from what happened, as well as the public when it comes to consuming food made at restaurants at various places around Las Vegas. So in April, I received a phone call from a guest inquiring about menu items that we do not serve. And after a quick dive, found out that they found us on the Uber Eats platform. I'm not on Uber Eats. I don't love a lot of their business practices. And since I call the shots, we're not on the platform. So I begrudgingly downloaded the app, searched for my restaurant name, and found a local business posing as Maniza's Pizza on the platform, fulfilling orders under my brand. So with a quick search, you can hit pickup, and I found the address, called the owner of the establishment, and he denied everything. And after I placed an order, watched on GPS the driver pick up his pizza and deliver it to me, unbeknownst to him, of course, and tracked all of that, it was very clear to me that they were just siphoning business off of my reputation that I've worked so hard to build because we're so highly rated across all platforms. And so after 2 or 3 more days of ordering more food from this establishment from other fictitious names that they were operating on the platform, many of which were my friends' restaurants, it became apparent to me that they were just creating Uber Eats accounts without any sort of guardrails in place by Uber that we could find under their names. There's a big difference between a ghost kitchen. Some of you might have heard that Chuck E. Cheese operated as Pasquale's Pizza throughout COVID. I could operate Big Tina's Thighs and Fries and serve chicken wings out of Maniza's Pizza if I wanted to. Ghost kitchens are okay, but posing as other people's brands is totally unacceptable, and it harms small businesses, and again, siphoned a lot of business out of my restaurant. So once that took to social media and the news, I found 15, but dozens more reached out to me just in Las Vegas, and they found themselves on the Uber Eats and Postmates platform because Uber acquired Postmates back in 2020. And so they were on all of these platforms, and everyone, it was almost like I took a baseball bat to a hornet's nest, and we found that this was a very viral problem on behalf of Uber nationwide. I've got a big following on social media and lots of restaurants across the country, and I work together, and they were finding themselves in that position too. So from a theft perspective, it's a big deal, but it's a huge deal when it comes to public health, because if you're already operating on pretty low morals and values, what's it to you to serve food with poor food handling practices when it's not under your brand name? So God forbid they got someone sick under my brand or really injured someone. The consumers deserve better, and that's where Jackie will take over. But it's a big deal on two fronts. So thank you for your time.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. So Jacqueline Bertel, I'm a member of the Nevada Justice Association. I'm also an attorney in town. One of the concerns that I have about this is from a consumer protection standpoint. So as of right now, as far as what we can tell with regard to, in particular, the Uber platform, I could be selling hot dogs out of the trunk of my car, and I could create an Uber Eats profile for my business and call myself Nathan's Hot Dogs or whatever is the one at New York, New York. And I could legitimately sell to you with no health inspection, with no business license whatsoever. As far as we can tell, Uber continues to practice in that same way. And so this is an example of where the technology really just the law has not kept up with the actual technology. From what we can tell and what happened here is that Uber was not checking for things like a business license. They were not checking for things like any kind of health records, anything like that. And they were just allowing anyone to create a profile and to sell food out of off their platform. So I think you have a consumer protection standpoint or issue here as well. So thank you all for your time.
And thank you for your time today, Madam Chair and committee members. And with that, we'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your presentation. It's great to hear your story and learn more about this issue in our community. At this time, I'll take any questions from members. I'll go first to Vice Chair Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Do you know if we've had these issues with other platforms? I understand Uber Eats is one of them, but I'm aware with DoorDash, I'm just using other companies. Do we know if this is a problem on their platforms as well?
Christina Martin with Minitz's Pizza. No, I haven't seen that that's an issue with DoorDash or Grubhub, both of which required me to provide a business license, proof of address. I think one even required a Google Maps establish that I was an actual business, but Uber is the only one that I have come across.
And Madam Chair, if I could do one quick follow-up. I know you referenced your business, and obviously that's terrifying, right? I'm a small business owner too. If somebody was doing anything under my name, that'd be terrifying. But I'm curious to know, have you seen or have you heard of scenarios where there was a complaint on the quality of the food or the delivery or XYZ, and that the consumer realized, wait a minute, I'm not working with company A, I'm working with company B, and what's happening in that world? How chaotic is that? Do we know of any scenarios like that?
It's a little bit difficult for me to quantify exactly what that looks like. I have received reviews on Google and Yelp that didn't reflect the quality of the product that we kick out, i.e. frozen dough, conveyor belt things just aren't reflective of what we do, but it's been difficult for me to narrow that down specifically.
Members, any additional questions? Assemblyman De Silva.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, again, maybe to some of our legal scholars here who are on the panel. Have there been any court cases that have dealt with this issue, and what have been some of the actual statements that have been made from the judiciary in regards to this specific issue? Thank you.
Jacqueline Bertel, Nevada Justice Association. There is current litigation ongoing. It's been removed to federal court as a class action lawsuit. There's nothing as far as any case law that I'm aware of in the state of Nevada. There was, as far as other litigation, there was a case in Chicago, very, very similar facts, a large settlement on part of Uber that was several years ago and the behavior continued.
Members, any additional questions? Any questions in Carson City?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Councilwoman McCarthy, you had a question? Oh, I guess not. All right, sorry. I just wanted to see if you had a last question. You know, this is his last time joining us at an interim, perhaps for a while. So I just had to be sure he had nothing else. So I don't think there's anything, but thank you so much for your presentation. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the questions. And really, litigation aside, right, this is really a loophole that should be fixed, at least require some verification process. I mean, some other apps, even Yelp requires a health district certification to be on their platform. And that's basically all we're trying to fix here. And any help that this committee or you could provide would be greatly appreciated. And we'll be there for the
session. To clarify then, at this time, there is no requirement in law that they're like through these applications or that you can operate these kitchens without a business license. Aren't there other laws to target them, but then it doesn't target them posing as these other businesses? Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware, but Jackie.
Jacqueline Patel, to our knowledge, no, there's no current law, there's no statute, there's nothing on the books that states that in order to go on a platform like this, that you have to demonstrate that you are a legitimate business or a legitimate restaurant owner. And that you have the licensure to do that, a license to sell that food, and you've been cleared by the health department.
That's good. And so organizations, then I think you mentioned that this was not an issue that we saw with DoorDash. So it looks like DoorDash has kind of maybe has some type of model. Have we reached out to DoorDash to see if there was like a way, I guess, to implement in statute what they are already doing to prevent this?
Madam Chair, for the record, Tom Roberts with Meridian, Nevada. I've not done some research. This came up pretty quickly as the interim cycle was just about come to an end. I don't know exactly where in statute we would actually put this. I've done a little bit of research in other states. I can't find that it's a requirement. I think a lot of businesses just do it as a due diligence, as part of being a good citizen and a good company. So I will work with you and LCB on drafting any kind of legislation, or at least finding a place in statute where this should belong.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for joining us and making a very brief but concise presentation. We appreciate it. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to the much anticipated work session for the most hardworking committee in the legislature, the Interim Committee on Government Affairs. The purpose of this work session is for the committee to decide which legislative measures, if any, it will request for the 2025 session of the legislature. Staff has assisted in preparing a work session document to help guide us through the work session. The document contains a combination of recommendations based upon testimony heard by the committee throughout the interim and recommendations from stakeholders and committee members. The recommendations outlined in the document are not necessarily set in stone. If the committee is so inclined, recommendations may be amended prior to the vote. Staff will guide us through each item in the document. There will be an opportunity to discuss each item, and then if you are so inclined, I will accept a motion to approve the item. At this time, I will turn things over to Mr. McDonald to begin.
Thank you, Chair. This is Jared McDonald for the record, Research Division of the Legislative Council Bureau. Let me first start out by saying that as nonpartisan staff of the LCB, I can neither support nor oppose any measure that comes before this committee. As the chair briefly outlined, the work session document has been put together by staff and the committee chair, and it contains a summary of recommendations presented during public meetings through communication with individual committee members or through correspondence submitted to committee members or staff. The members of the committee do not necessarily support or oppose these recommendations, and these proposals are grouped by topic and are not preferentially ordered. Pursuant to NRS 218D-160, the committee is limited to 10 legislative measures, which includes both bill draft requests or resolutions. And the committee may vote to send as many statements or letters of recommendation of support as it chooses. And that includes statements as well. Additionally, subsection 3 of NRS 218E325 requires that any recommended legislation proposed by the committee must be approved by a majority of the members of the Senate and a majority of the members of the Assembly. So you would need 2 yay votes from your Senate members and 3 yay votes from your Assembly members. And finally, please be advised that the LCB, at the direction of the chair, may coordinate with interested parties to obtain additional information for drafting purposes or for information to be included in the committee's final report. And with that, with approval of the chair, we could jump right in. If you would like.
Let's go ahead in. Should we create a crazy order? No, I'm just kidding. We'll just go in order listed on the work session document.
I'll tell you general on those on, so
Oh.
maybe jump to that one. I don't know.
Actually, we are going to go ahead and go out of order. Give me one moment. Let me find out what number we're going to start with. We're going to go ahead and go to number 8 because I know that General Barry is joining us on Zoom. So we'll go ahead and go to number 8 regarding the Nevada National Guard first.
Thank you, Chair. The first request is to request the drafting of a bill to make workers' compensation for injuries or death benefits for National Guard members serving under state authority equivalent to benefits provided while serving under federal authority. And again, this was requested by Major General Andra Berry at a meeting previously this interim. Thank you.
Members, are there any questions on the recommendation? Is there a motion on this recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Was that Senator Daly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Senator. So we have the motion from Senator Daly and a second from Assemblyman De Silva. At this time, we'll go ahead and move forward with a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, this motion does pass. And then we will now proceed. Go ahead.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the chair and to the committee for considering this. I really, really appreciate it. And your staff has done a phenomenal job at following up with the background and the work and how we can make the comparison. This would be phenomenal for our service members. So I just want to say thank you to the committee for moving this forward. Really, really appreciate it.
And sir, could you identify yourself for the record? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Major General Andre Berry. And I apologize for the noise in the background. We're here in Detroit at a conference, but I just want to say thank you again to the committee for really considering this motion and this benefit to our service members. We do quite a bit of work on the state active duty status side. This was as a result of untimely and unfortunate death of Sergeant Estes. So knowing that the committee is supportive and willing to work with us and to push this forward means a lot for the men and women of the Nevada National Guard. So thank you so much.
Thank you, General Barry, and I hope you're enjoying those beautiful mountains.
That's Lake Tahoe. I'm in Detroit.
Okay, I guess those are Detroit mountains. All right. Well, thank you. It's great to have you here with us. We appreciate it. We look forward to working together during the legislative session on this item.
Thank you,
All
Chair.
right, and the committee and members of the public will go ahead and continue with the additional recommendations.
Moving to recommendation 1, this relates to the use of artificial intelligence in an emergency management. This is to request the drafting of a bill to require a natural person to make decisions during emergency management situations regarding the allocation of resources and response planning. This was requested by the chair. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Doesn't appear that there are any questions here in Vegas. Carson City, is there any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. At this time, is there a motion to approve the recommendation number 1?
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right, I have the motion from Senator Flores. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I had a second from Senator Daly. At this time, we'll move forward with the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, this motion does carry unanimously. And 1 minute recess. All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and continue on. We're just working on some tech issues here. So we'll go ahead and proceed with the next item on the work session document number 2.
The next item on your work session relates to copper wire thefts, and this will be to request the drafting of a bill to make it illegal to possess certain types of copper wire. This was discussed as a possible recommendation during the meeting held on May 30th. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions on the recommendation? Is there a motion to approve recommendation number 2?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have the motion from Vice Chair Flores. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
And I have a second from Assemblyman De Silva. He just beat you to it, Senator. At this time, I'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this motion does pass unanimously. We'll continue on to item number 3.
The next recommendation regards cybersecurity, and this will be to request the drafting of a bill to make the Nevada Office of Cyber Defense Coordination an independent agency, set the minimum qualifications for the executive director, and require reports of data incidents or security breaches for certain entities to the Nevada Office of Cyber Defense Coordination. And this was requested by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, are there any questions?
I have one question.
Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you. I just, so if we're going to set this up as a separate department, is it going to be under the executive branch as a separate department, or I know the Attorney General's office has agencies and stuff where it coordinates cyber defense and the enforcement of the law. So is it going to be under the government, state executive branch, or is it going to be under the Attorney General? Or is that decision waiting for drafting?
Thank you. Well, I imagine that this is a conversation we'll continue to have in session for the drafting of the bill. The intent is to make this under the executive.
That was all I had. Thank you.
Members, thank you. Any additional questions? All right, at this time, is there a motion to approve the recommendation number 3?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
At this time, we'll go ahead and take a vote. I had the motion from Vice Chair Flores and the second from Assemblyman Carter. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, this motion does pass. We'll go ahead and move on to recommendation number 4.
Recommendation number 4 is to send a letter to the governor to encourage the state to expedite the migration of public websites from .com to .gov for the purposes of improving security. And again, this was requested by the chair. Thank you.
At this time, is there any questions regarding the recommendation? All right, do I have a motion to approve recommendation number 4?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I
Second.
have the motion from Vice Chair Flores. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have
Second.
a
Yep.
second from Assemblyman De Silva. Are there any questions or any discussion on the motion? All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. All right, this motion does carry, passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and move on to recommendation number 5.
Recommendation number 5 is to request the drafting of a bill to appropriate $5 million to the governor's office for New Americans to provide grants to local governments to implement language access plans. Of the $5 million appropriation, no more than $200,000 may be used by ONA to administer the grant program. This was requested again by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to pass recommendation number 5.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have the motion from Vice Chair Flores. Do I have a
Second.
And I have a second from Assemblyman Carter. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion does carry, passes unanimously. At this time, we'll go ahead and continue to recommendation number 6.
Recommendation number 6 is to request the drafting of a bill to include the provisions of Senate Bill 169 as approved by the legislature from last session, which requires certain local governments to include a heat mitigation element in master plans, including a plan to develop heat mitigation strategies such as cooling spaces, public drinking water, shade over paved surfaces, and urban tree canopies. And this was requested by Jackie Spicer, Climate Equity Policy Fellow at the Nevada Environmental Justice Coalition. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the motion? It doesn't appear that there are any. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve recommendation number 6.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have the motion from Vice Chair Flores. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assemblyman De Silva. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you. I voted no on this during the 2023 session. I again think that this is major overreach on the part of the Nevada Legislature telling county governments and city governments down on this level of planning, so I will again be a no. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, I do have Senator Hansen in opposition. This motion does pass. Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and continue to item number 7.
Recommendation number 7 is to send a letter to local governments in Clark County requesting them to consider creating a mosquito abatement district to improve coordination and ensure there is a comprehensive approach to controlling mosquitoes and other vectors. This was requested by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there any questions regarding the motion? All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote on the motion. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion to approve recommendation number 7 from Senator Flores. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assemblyman De Silva. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, this motion does pass unanimously. Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to item number 9.
Recommendation number 9 is to request the drafting of a bill to create a blue ribbon panel or a task force on police officer wellness. The panel, composed of various stakeholders throughout the state, will study state-level policies to support officers and other positions within law enforcement regarding their personal wellness by looking at best practices from around the country. Additional topics to study include, but are not limited to, mandatory wellness checks for officers and staff and the use of peer support officers. This was requested by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there any discussion on the recommendation number 9? It doesn't appear that there is any. At this time, do I have a motion for recommendation number 9?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Flores. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assemblyman Carter. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion does carry. We will go ahead and move to recommendation number 10.
Recommendation number 10 relates to public records. Under this recommendation is to request the drafting of a bill to create the Office of the Public Records Ombudsman in the executive branch to help resolve disputes arising from public records requests made under Nevada's public record law. This was again requested by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions on the recommendation? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have the motion from Vice Chair Flores. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assemblyman Carter. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion does pass unanimously. We'll proceed with item number 11.
Item number 11 relates to prevailing wage. This recommendation is to request the drafting of a bill to create 3 new positions in the Office of the Labor Commissioner to enforce wage and hour provisions of Chapter 338 of NRS, and to revise NRS 338070 to provide that a public body awarding a contract is not required to conduct an investigation, is only required to report possible violations committed in the course of the execution of a contract to the Labor Commissioner to investigate. And this was requested by Assemblyman Carter based on testimony held on May 30th. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Assemblyman Carter, for making that recommendation. I think you have some additional comments.
I would just like to clarify, and it was my inadequate communication with staff. What we're really looking to do is expand. It's more than 3 positions. It's somewhere around between 7 and 10 positions. It's an expansion of the Labor Commissioner's office to address and recognize the expanded amount of work going on in our state.
Thank you. And I think with that, that clarifies it for the record, the intent of that. And so legal will be able to draft a bill with that language. Are there any other questions or discussion?
Comment, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Senator Daly.
Yes, thank you. Just a comment. So however many positions we can get will actually be beneficial to getting the enforcement. But in line with the other part of it regarding the public bodies just reporting to the Labor Commissioner if there's a finding, I think is also important. I know I had a question from my colleague from District 16 a minute ago. We already have in regulation that allows the Labor Commissioner to take jurisdiction of a complaint that comes in. What we've seen over the years, and I've got a lot of experience in this space, the awarding bodies have varying levels of ability, resources, expertise to even conduct an investigation. It's very inconsistent application across the state, especially on the public works side and which workers are supposed to be doing what. So I think sending some of that to the Labor Commissioner. The other thing that I've seen with some awarding bodies is they become the enemy. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to have anything happen on their job. So they say, no, nothing to see here, and make determinations that there was no violation, of which then you have to appeal and go through a bunch of other processes and try to get it to the Labor Commissioner in the first place. So I think some of this could be clarifying and beneficial, provided we get the staff. If you don't get the staff, then you have a new mandate without resources. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I just want to clarify, Senator, did you have a question or just you wanted to make the clarification?
Just the comment, and I misspoke. My colleague asked me from Senate 14, not 16. So.
All right, thank you, Senator. I know you always make the briefest comments of this committee. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve recommendation number 11.
I so move.
I have the motion from Assemblyman Carter. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Vice Chair Flores. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? And this motion does pass unanimously. At this time, we'll move on to item number 12.
The final recommendation on your work session relates to Public Employees Retirement System. This is to request the drafting of a bill to include the provisions of Assembly Bill 222, which provides for, from last session, which provides for an employee of a school district who is a member of the Public Employees Retirement System to receive a full year of service credit if the employee works at least 900 hours in a school year. And this again was requested by Assemblyman Carter. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions regarding the recommendation? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve recommendation number 12.
So moved.
All right, so move.
I have the motion from Assemblyman Carter, but I'll take a second from Senator Daly. I don't, there's a little bit of lag time, so I feel bad for our Northern rep, just a little bit. But we'll go ahead and move on. Is there any discussion on the recommendation? All right, at this time, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. This motion does pass unanimously. And this does conclude our work session for today. So at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to agenda item number 6, our public comment. Please remember to state your name for the record and limit your comments to 2 minutes. Staff will time each speaker during public comment to ensure everyone has a fair opportunity to speak. Again, to call in, please use the number and meeting ID provided on the agenda. Is there anyone wishing to provide public comment here in Las Vegas? Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to provide public comment? BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to provide public comment?
The public lines are open and working. However, there are no callers to offer public comment at this time.
So strange. There's not people jumping to hop on the line for the best committee in the interim session. This is our final meeting, and I'd like to offer my sincere thanks to the community members, stakeholders, our presenters, and our staff who have generously given their time and expertise to this item. Our Legislative Council Bureau staff have supported our committee, including the individuals in BPS, in fiscal, in legal, and research division. So if we could just pause and give them a round of applause. It has been an honor to serve as your chair and work alongside you, and a distinct pleasure to work with each and every single one of you in this committee. So thank you so much for your time and for your service. And, you know, it is very unfortunate because it appears that my best friend, Assemblyman MacArthur, will not be returning to Carson City with me this next time. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to cope with it. He told me, though, that he is looking forward to coming up to join us for at least a little while. So in his honor today, I will allow him to close out and gavel out for the interim session. So just a 1-minute recess.
And Madam Chair, before he closes out, if I could just interject and just say thank you to you, Madam Chair, for running a great committee, being very efficient and bringing in a whole host of individuals to work together and come up with these great recommendations to take up to the legislature. I appreciate your leadership.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I just want to echo Senator Flores's comments and his sentiment there. Thank you again for your leadership on this interim committee and during the last legislative session, my freshman session. And I also want to thank Assemblyman MacArthur for his dedicated service to this country, to the state, and to our local communities. Thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right. So with that, just 1-minute recess.
Okay. It looks like this meeting's about over, so I am saying this meeting is adjourned.